Alright, the idea program announcement to 2021. Instruction for preparing idea proposal. The following section provides instruction on how to prepare for the proposal following with the consideration idea program. Most valuable advice, however, there may be to make of the easier review of the quickly grab of the intended benefits of the project, develop a clear statement of the potential change of the result of the project, included in a cover sheet with except for the highway idea program, begin with the proposal with the program announcement contained with 3 attachment most of the component. All proposal attachment 1, cover sheet 2, budget summary 3, liability statement, the area of the Word documents with can be accessed for the MSI Word document. Use the link below for the enter for the needed information online public transportation resource board or online bubs. Idea proposal attachments. Attachment 2 and 3 must be signed when the authorized representative should be appear at the end of the proposal. Idea proposal must be submitted in single with a complete PDF. It does not simple to multiply an independent file with a copy. Idea proposal will contain the following section: pitch deck, slide with a highway transit idea proposal only on safety nose rail safety proposal. Each highway transit idea proposed will also incorporate with a pitch deck. The set slide with providing a quick overview of the proposal. The following link with a provided sample of the pitch deck with illustrating how to be prepared. Online public transportation research board or online public idea sample pitch deck. PowerPoint pitch deck must file with example of the same pitch deck. It must contain the same number of the slides. Use 11. Use the same captions heading with the sample pitch deck with the proposal of the which day. Pitch decks receiving the slide limited with not except that no change that made shall be made with the slides captions or headings. Following example sample of the pitch deck. Each slide will describe the particular item of the proposal which will be carried over the next slide. And the proposer may find with a note between the sample slides helpful to preparing with their pitch deck, but the pitch deck will not count against the proposal page limit. The 10 page for the highway idea, 15 pages transit idea proposal. Pitch deck slides shall be prepared with a PowerPoint presentation. Slides shall not appear congested, crowded, with too much text. Use a bullet to show the points with no more than 2 to 3 short sentences. Do not write paragraphs under each bullet. The font size should be large enough so that if it were a PowerPoint presentation, slides should be easily readable by the audience in the last row in the room. Below the pitch deck and the proposal will submit with a PDF, which for the pitch deck will be filed with a full proposal. The pitch deck is prepared with a PowerPoint presentation, prepared with the MS using MS Word, should be converted with the PDF, combined as a single document. Separate files on one of the pitch deck of the proposal will not be accepted. The pitch deck will be filed with a regular proposal prepared strictly in the format described below. 2 for the cover sheet with attachment 1 should be page 1 with the proposal summary section of the railway safety idea transit idea program. Clear state of the intended benefits of the innovation problem. The drive of the summary of the research approach, the indicate for the cost sharing and arrangement, briefly address the potential impact of the practice for highway idea program summary section without require the intended. Instead, answers to the 3 specific questions listed on the cover page should be provided with a page of the following cover page. 3. The concept, application, practice. Start with the page 2 of the proposal. Page 3 of the highway idea proposal. Provide with a clear explanation of the following with the concept, application, define with the problem, concept, the driver, describe the innovation, approach the problem, potential payoff of the practice, describe the potential benefit of the implementing and innovative, describe how the innovation product will be used with the transportation agency, the other transportation stakeholders. C. Transportation, private, describe the approach to the implementation, consider the partnership with the transportation agency and the industry of their customer basis, publishing professional driven the making presentation professional clear assert confidence not really with the implementation of the tech transfer activities. The effective implementation strategy is one of the engage those who actually with the innovation and meaningful implementation. Planning was addressed the following question: what are the target areas who the adopters, who the benefit of the technology product, will it bear with the proceed with the actual adoption, what would the initial setup of the ongoing maintenance costs associated with the implementation technology product, which can agency expect with the recoup of the recall associated with the initial adoption of the technology. Why? What are the additional equipment that will be needed to implement the technology of the product? What type of the training with the education that is needed with the technology product will be provided with the training? How will the state with the other stakeholders solve will they identify whether we're willing to pilot the innovation for the site? 2. Project with the idea product involved with the AASHTO specification update with the relevant AASHTO committee have been identified. The investigation approach. Describe the plan investigation approach provided with the proposed work plan with the describe of the work required for each of the number of tab with the divide with the plan. 2 for the 3 the stage with the include with the specific plan with evaluating research to have the completion of each stage. Include a summary of the result of the literature search for the show of the concept was not similar with the duplicated with the other investigations. See with the information received for the page. 4 literature search review survey should be not in the tab for the idea research research plan with a may be defined with a traditional NCHR plan with a TCR plan research project, but not an idea research project. The proposer should have done before the writing of the idea proposal to find out what should have been done with a particular topic issue. They have a clear idea what specifically they will do to address the problem, key personnel in the facilities, and have other key investigators and include the summary information about their background with the technical expertise to describe the research facility that are available to perform in the project with indicated liaison and cooperative work arrangement, if any, with the state of the other research organization, producers, and potential product users. Other related proposals to provide information on the other proposals the same and the related technical areas have been submitted and investigated for the other agency program with a plan with the submitted for the current year have funded with the previously indicated not applicable for the side. No such proposal have been submitted with the awards received by a brief of the person synopsis on their ongoing completed work related to the proposal. Budget cost sharing. Complete with the budget summary and the attachment to provide with the information showing how to request the funds will be used with the following instruction over the budget and the contracting guidelines. Leave with the blank item that are not applicable. At least half of the research must be performed directly for the proposing firm or the individual's institution. Only critically needed the hardware and the equipment specifically required for the project that will be considered the funding with the appropriate disposition of the capital of the equipment and purchase the project funded will determine the completion of the project proposed purchase of such equipment if the idea funds is discouraged. Any of the travel the budget for the items must be directly relay with the performance of the project work. Include potential travel at least one of the project brief of the idea committee with the budget will shall reflect with the proposal the best terms of the call with the technical standpoint. In case of the joint proposal of the two or more situation, only one budget sheet needs to provide with a preparer with only one partner institution acting as a prime contractor with the other in partners shown in the subcontractors. Cost sharing include the direct cash contribution and the indirect contribution payment in kind. However, the time should not be the major form of the proposed cost sharing with the university professor will offer the time and call for the should attach an official letter with the Universal Financial Authority who signed the budget sheet with their proposal state that the university will pay over the covered share time. Cost sharing will encourage for all of the purposes and proposals, but prerequisite for the type 2 proposal to take with the indication of the proposal the partnership will also have some faith proposed innovation willing to raise the own money over its money on it. Cost sharing can some of the proposals use the industry participant state the industry the others should available to propose but any cost sharing should be discussed in proposal. Specific arrangements, if proposed, must be completed with it before an award is made. Liability. The proper proposal must include the liability statement see attachment 3 with a duly signed with the authorized official, but under no circumstances will the proposal without liability statement to be accepted. Other there no alteration, modification, liability statement proposals that are authored. Liability statements will not be accepted. Contracts and budget instruction. Idea awards are fixed firm price track contracts. Payments will be made with a specified stages. Contingency approved paragraph stored. Contract completion. Budget summary attachment 2 that should provide with the estimated cost of the project information on each of the cost element consistent with the proper cost for the accounting system. One personal list of individually all personnel will include each of the requested person hours to be funded with the respective rates and pay. Materials and equipment items of the material that required with include costs that indicate the only material supply required with a performance investigation. Equipment to purchase for the end part for the component of the test set up for the prototype to discourage equipment to purchase if it did not return. Not to be returned to the federal government upon the completion of the project. The pros expect to use their own computer phone for their use of the project. If they want to either buy a computer or phone for the project, they should do so for the cost sharing portion of the project budget. Other direct costs, the list of the direct costs do not include with the other categories for travel, the address, the type of the duration, travel, the relation with the project. For consultants, subcontractor, list of names, consultants, subcontractors, describe the activities to perform with the duration, so for the compensation involved with the total cost of the all subcontractor will should be below 50% of the total project cost, excluding any of the cost of specialized equipment and serve the idea or program deal with any of the prime contract with the contractor man, but is not involved with the subcontract between partner institution and National Academy of Science of the Office of the Contractor grants. However, the will need for the review of subcontract $25,000 or more. Overhead cost specifically current rate with the base for the using the current rate with a negotiated with the competent federal government agency available to no rate has or have been negotiated the reasonable indirect cost overhead rate that may be requested in accordance with the existing accounting system. 6. General administrative cost of the special current rate with the current negotiated with the cognizant federal negotiation agency is available to no rate has been negotiated reasonable to justifiable indirect cost may be requested. Note, a cost analysis will be made to determine the reasonable of the process for the itemized budget of the pre-award audit. Financial accountability may also provide with the NASOCG institution higher education over another non-profit organization reduced to receiving the IDEA award subject to the federal government Office of Management with the budget audit requirements of the Office of Management budget, Uniform Guidance TL 2 CFR 200, Uniform Administrative Requirements, Cost Proposals, Audits, Requirements of Federal Awards, Intellectual Property right of the individual institution retains copyright to written material, data, and software derived from the IDEA projects encouraged to obtain patents. Any result the innovations of the U.S. government hold with a non-exclusive license to use the result of the research of the certain project. The NAS retains the right to print and the distribute the material of the project report submitted by the IDEA program. Project negotiation scope of the work of the plan of the budget may be revive the evaluation of the proposal. The guidelines prepared with the project revision of the IDEA project will be provided with the proposal of the IDEA awards of the contract that was awarded. Liability requirements complete with the original liability statement attachment 3 must be submitted with the proposal. The proposal submitted without the statement will not be considered for award. Also, no alteration, modification, liability statement is permitted and important. The NAS will transmit with the contractor proposal, and the contractor must either the one-time return of the NAS OCG within 2 weeks for the transmittal. Within two weeks for the transmittal, the proposal will return to the NAS OCG the written with the questions exemption with the contract terms. If number 2 of the NAS will respond with a writing proposal, will have 1 week to sign and return the contract with the OCG with only such provisions are explicitly approved of the NAS. Failure to respond with either the first and second option will result in the contract offer being withdrawn. Required format for proposal. The proposal should be organized with the order described below. The proposal deviate with the order of the different format will not be accepted. Pitch deck slides, highway and transit IDEA programs only. Cover page answer for 3 specific questions. Highway IDEA proposal only. Summary concept application for the practice investigation approach. Key personnel facility other related proposals. Budget summary sheet if suggested. The sheet is not included with the budgetary or investment explanation that would be counted over the page limit of the liability statement below. Support endorsement for all programs. Minimum font size 12 points. 12 points, margin 1 inch on each side. Type less justified, images numbered and centered at the bottom. Digital images must be a minimum of 300 dot per inch. Our proposal for the Transit Rail Safety IDEA program on the IC 15 signal page with include the exclusion proposal for the Highway IDEA program on the IC 10 page with including all industry incurred. The type of the signal page of the proposal seating allowed a page limit of the IC for the IDEA program commitment. The panel with a very strict with the page limit of the resubmitted with the IDEA proposal. The must include with the response with the review of the comments. Previous submission should be inspected. Include with the submitted proposal with the following cover sheet with the response pages that are not counted in the page limit. Please note the following are also counted with the page limit. All the program's covered budget with the liabilities cover statement sheet with the bibliography resume and the restart of the procedure. A description, facility, company, and appendix, etc. The following are not counted over the page limited with the 3 IDEA program proposals. They are supported endorsement regardless of the number of such letters. The letters worth attachment of those, the much of the meaningful commitment rather than more expression and interest. Response committee commitment with the previously submitted proposal that should be attached at the beginning of the proposal found on the cover sheet. The Highway IDEA proposal page answering the 3 specific questions immediately found on the cover sheet with the 3 submitted proposal. The page should be placed after the response to the comments of previous submission. Submitting a proposal. IDEA programs is set with the professional proposal. The only acceptable paper copy of the proposal with all attachment budget, cyber and liability statement is a liability support, etc. should be complied into one single package with a PDF form with the submit with the V with the link listed below. Please do not lock with the PDF. Do not lock the PDF document or send any material relevant to the proposal, such as support letters later separately. Then those can be adapted proposal. The Highway IDEA, NCHRP IDEA proposal portal, transit idea proposal portal, railway safety idea proposal portal, contact information, contact idea offered by email with the idea program, nas.edu. If you have any questions, idea program staff officer as follows: Transit idea Velvet Basement Frederick Parrow, Highway idea Ayman Jamad, and Rail Safety idea Velvet Basmir Fitzpatrick. Reports and briefings. Contract must submit with a quarterly stage report. The final report specified with the contract document guideline with the preparing with the various report with the bill provided with the final guidelines may prevent with the delay with the contract completion. Those during the contract period with the contractor may require with the present update with the progress of the result of the investigation and with the technical transit research board with the idea committees with the panels and staff. Answer frequently asked question. Our idea programs open to the reach for the U.S. can reach for the other countries also be submitted in proposal. The idea programs open and include with the foreign national living living and working outside of the U.S. It would, however, be easier, less complicated contracting process for the foreign submitter of the U.S. process if this foreign submitter is assigned U.S. partners. Please note the private sector of the investigator submitting proposal to register with the business of the federal government with a system award management website. If their proposal selected for the award cannot be processed without the registration business, federal government can take several weeks and advisable to already register with the submitting proposal. Is anyone not eligible to submitting an idea proposal? Yes. Anyone listed as specifically designated national block person or SDN list is ineligible. Please see the website Treasury Gov Research Center Sanctions SNDN list page default. Can someone from the state submit with the idea proposal? Yes. What are the idea programs except the proposal? Someone of the federal agency, national laboratory. Idea programs are open to include the foreign national living and working outside of the United States. However, the federal policies may not allow the idea programs to fund such research for the federal agency. Research for the federal agency, the national laboratory. The remaining non-federal organizations should check with their contracting legal authorities of whether they may receive the IDEA program. Our program essentially is support of the junior facility member. The IDEA programs are open to faculty and non-faculty member of the educational institution as well as those outside academia and private business, regardless of the qualification, experience, and seniority. The only requirement is breakthrough with an innovation idea. With the duration idea project, flexibility with the time of the duration idea project, generally 1 to 2 years, that may be adjusted to specific circumstances and warrant. What is the cutoff time? The receiver of the proposal submitted electronically except for the 12-hour midnight of the Pacific Standard Time, deadline date. What do you mean indirect costs? Same thing with the overhead cost. For the indirect costs is overhead, leave the fringe for the general administrative costs, etc. Indirect costs are costs that are not directly associated with a single activity, event, or the other cost object. Such costs are frequently aggregated with the overhead cost pool, with allocated various activities based on the allocation method to perceive the actual linkage of both between indirect costs and activities. Where are the cost sharing salary tuition of the student tuition for a student unrecovered direct in costs for the student salary for the other previous experience with a different sponsor? They have the different interpretation of the web of the direct and indirect contributions would fall under the direct in kind both of the idea program and announcements state with the cost sharing including the direct cash contribution, indirect compensation and contributions and payment in kind other than the statement from the program announcements will leave the recipient determine the cost sharing. Are there F&A costs in direction that can be shared? Yes, F&A costs are for indirect costs and can be shared. Can be cost shared. We're a new small startup company. We don't have enough information to compute the overhead cost, general administrative cost. If the state with the rate, where you could use the idea that we could use the idea proposal. Whatever rate is acceptable to the federal government and the small business will be acceptable. The IDEA programs also please note the IDEA budget will be included with all the direct costs of the general administrative costs. Maximum funding for the IDEA project, except for the type 1 highway idea, is $100,000. Even the amount will include with the cost sharing. Other words, that one provide $25,000 cost sharing, with the IDEA program provide only 75%. 75,000. The IDEA funds are not impacted in any way with the cost sharing amount. But in other words, IDEA funds are not reduced if the issue show cost sharing. For joint proposal, primary contact should have at least 50% of the awarded amount with the budget of the program and announcements that at least half of the research must be performed directly with the proposing firm with an individual institution of the mean with a half of the time personal cover, personal work hours, something else. The budget share with the work should be at least 50% of the primary contract amount of the work and budget generally go there. The budget guidelines state that the contract must have below with 50% of the total project cost. They are correct, and assuming the total project cost includes any of the cost sharing, does the form of the cost sharing cast contribution versus in-kind contribution. In fact, this 50% of the condition idea amount, but it does not apply with the cost sharing amount. Forms cost sharing does not affect with the although cost contribution can be considered more creditable. Proposal guidelines state that a club contract $25,000 or more required a review with the National Academy. Such contracts submitted after the grant has been awarded. Yes, subcontracts $25,000 or more most may be reviewed, approved by the National Academies. You can submit with it after the idea has been made. My proposed project requires subcontractor with a software developed. Do I have the subcontractor in play with a proposal submitted that it can be finalized with a grant made? Sign the subcontractor finalized after the idea award is made. Please note that the award will be contracted with not a grant. Are the funds of the IDEA program federal-based or state-based? If they are federal-based, if they would be allowed to share with the cost share, that they state-based, then the states generally cannot cost share. IDEA funds are essentially fund federal base of the funds or rail safety IDEA program coming directly with the Federal Rail Administration Fund, but the Highway IDEA program comes from Federal Highway Administration through the State Department of Transportation Fund. The Transit IDEA program comes from the Federal Transit Administration. More discussion of intellectual property related with the program announcement said with the U.S. government hold with the non-exclusive license the result of the research for the certain purpose within the those a certain purpose. If the certain purpose will define the U.S. government, if then when it determines what it wants to exercise its right. So if the IDEA contract compromised my ability to get a patent, no, ideas do not retain any rights for on your invention. Research should be independently secure their intellectual property rights. This idea search for confidentiality of my proposal. We treat proposals for the confidential material do not release in whole or part overview process involved with the committee members of the instructed not to disclose information from the proposal. What do reviewers consider the most important part of the proposal? The innovation factor of the proposal clearly identify which are being done differently, which can be made can I do to make my proposal better. Research process that shows the awareness of what happened over the past makes the progress. Public impression review with the similarity with existing past work is one of the reasons proposals now selected. What else can I do to improve my chances of selection? Talk to a potential user over the concept, ask if they might be able to help you develop the concept as well as the work plan. Sometimes the level of commitment from the potential user to participate in your project and add strength to your proposal. Although so, the file with guidelines preparing the proposal for reviewer do not want to miss the good idea because they can understand a poorly prepared proposal. If their outline prepared proposal with how many pages to prepare with the budget, please see with the section instruction preparing idea proposal with the idea program and announcement. For all detailed program announcement can also be associated with the Transportation Research Board idea. For the proposal being submitted jointly with the two or more institutions, should there be a separate budget sheet with a separate liability statement for each situation? The proposal should contain only one budget sheet with one liability statement for one partner institution acting with the prime contractor. Idea programs deal only with the prime contractor, only on the contract of the primary contractor deal with the subcontractor. What deliverables are expected with the Type 1 and Type 2 project for idea? The proposal with the product rather than me with the describe the developed product with the Type 1 project the developer may prototype with a new device with a new testing, inspection, detection method, with a new material, with a new software program to drive the transportation problem, final report should provide with the information applicable. Type 2 project expect with the provider refine improved prototype product along with the result of the testing evaluation with the implementation efforts. If there is a list of service distribution to receive the IDEA program and announcement, if how was one going to list serve the distribution list? Yes, there is a list serve the Transportation Research Cooperative Research Program Division for communication announcement for the probably interested to get your name on the list. Please contact Joseph Snell with 202-334-3502, J.S. Snell, NAS.edu at the Transportation Research Board. The IDEA program is also published live at the Transportation Research Board newsletter. How can a proposer receive feedback on whether the project is funded or not, and any comments related and why it wasn't funded? Any proposer implemented with the IDEA committee meeting with whether or not their proposal was selected with the funding. Those for the proposal will not selected can request review comments of the proposal. The comments can be provided verbally or in writing. And these are on page 19. Alright, we'll read that. Alright, how can one keep in touch with the project progress? Highway Transit IDEA Program provide quarterly progress report with the Transportation Research CRP division containing the updated paragraph of each for the completed project, the Highway Rail Safety Transit IDEA final report. Those to the IDEA website also vary each year. IDEA program publishes annual progress report with a annual update for the activate projects as well as one-page summary of each of the completed projects. The reports are posted on the IDEA website. Any other way to learn the IDEA project is attend with the Transportation Research annual meeting where select the activity recently complied with the IDEA projects are displayed at the IDEA poster session. What happens the IDEA research is complete with the essentially up to the research that would do their development and product. The encourage IDEA program for the collaborators partner among state does provide industry with to carry out the work forward toward the implementation commercialization project. Final reports also provide with the relevant transportation research technical committees as well as the AASHGO committee of the council of the industry with the developed product for the project generate sufficient interest among states and pool funded studies over the further evaluation and implementation IDEA product. Federal Highway Administration Highway for Life program now integrated with the Center of the Acceleration and Innovation and thus also further pursued some of the idea project to help with the implementation commercialization. With the cost sharing, increase the change of my proposal being funded in-kind cost sharing. Acceptable cost sharing is desirable but not mandatory. The type 1 project with the cost sharing makes no difference if the concept is not innovative, and innovativeness of the concept is practical. For the most important factor to select type 1 projects. How does important support letter idea proposal support with the state with the more information private industry? Support letters from the researchers have discovered the concept of the state data with the dots like idea with the extent that they're willing to make with some comments. There's no preference regarding support letter from a dot or a private industry. The important thing is how meaningful the support is. Well, supporting proposal program focuses our increase the money chances of being funded. One concept is relatively really innovative and address the highway priority needs of state, local transportation agency. Can I submit more than one proposal? If yes, the program still find only one of these proposals, even if they are rated highly? Yes, and you can. Main concept priority. How can I ensure the will remain confident during and after review of my proposal? The idea proposal review process is strictly confidential. Will continue with the traffic upon review of the observe the confidential at all time. You also write with every page of the confidential proprietary information served as a reminder. I already have a patent on my invention. Can I still have some proposal based on my invention? Yes, you can, as long as you show the patent and product offers new solution highway related problem. What will the review of the provide feedback on the proposal before I submit the idea program? No, it will be fair for the other proposal. The idea staff can tell you the proposal is suitable for the idea program should not be divided with you with the area of the section over the proposals need the strength or what questions your proposal has not answered adequately. What will you allow me to come to your review committee meeting to explain the concept before selection is made? No, the fairness to all, we will have to ask all the other proposers to do the same. Considering the large number of the proposals received, that it's not feasible. And can I resubmit the proposal if rejected the first time? Do you provide a review of the comments on rejected proposal? Yes, you can resubmit the revised proposal, review comments of the client proposal, or provided if requested reviews. Revised proposals must contain your response to the review comments of the provided previous proposal. Alright, shows the proposal cover sheet with the NCHRP idea program. For use TRB, date received, proposal number, type of project, concept, product, application, type 1 or 2 project, duration, months, submission date, resubmission, yes or no, sign, alteration, NRC, liability, certification, closed proposal, yes or no, name and address, organization, office for the contact, telephone number, email, idea, budget, cost sharing, total project number, business type, academic, profit, non-profit, name, interest, principal, investigator size, number 10, 123, less than 200 employees, telephone, fax number, and email number. The key investigators, NHCR, EIDA proposers, rail safety, transit idea, pros, rail safety idea, transit, ABLIF, TRB, the data received, the proposal number, time of the project, type 1 and 2, to submission date, NRC liability, yes or no, name and address, submitting organization, telephone, fax number, idea, project, costing, total project, business, academic, non-profit, or profit size, the number 0, 10, less than 10, to less than 200, name and address of the principal, investigators, telephone number, email, and fax, name of the key investigators, brief summary of the concept of the potential impact of the practice, idea, budget, summary, project type, principal, investigator, organization, project duration, month, funds, requested for the idea program, principal, investigator, hours, money, hours, ideas, cost sharing on other staff, constellation, subcontractor, subtotals, idea, cost sharing, materials, costs, subtotal, ideas, cost, sharing, other direct costs, subtotal, idea, cost sharing, general overhead, idea, subcost, general administration, total cost, proposed cost sharing, direct contribution, proposing organization, in-kind contribution, proposing organization, direct fund from other sources, specified value, staff, etc., contributed to the other staff, total project budget, signature, and date. The TRB idea program liability statement proposal. Proposing agency name, title, signature, date, contractor liability, NCRH idea proposal evaluation, proposal number, prototype, principal, investigator, institution, proposal type, duplication, evaluation score, innovation, research approach, potential benefits, and implementation, commercialization, total score 100%, comments, transit idea proposal evaluation, proposal, transit, prototype, principal, institution, proposed, file, duplication, evaluation, score, innovation, research approach, potential benefits, and implementation, commercialization, total score 100, comments. Rail Safety Idea Committee. 3 high, 2 medium, 1 low, 0 poor are unacceptable for each 3 criteria. Proposal, institution, principle of asking quality, innovation, potential, payoff, research approach, total and comments. Quality, innovation, potential, payoff, and research potential, reviewer name, selection criteria for railway proposal to date. And this was a reading of, this was your Innovative, Deserving, Explanatory Analysis Program, Rail Safety, Highway Transit, National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine.